What is going on, guys? How's everyone doing today? I am back with yet another install video. It's going to be a little bit of a small one, but I feel like it's something like well overdue. As you guys know by the title of the video, we are going to be changing shifter bushings in my 2002 Subaru WRX. Nothing special, just the front and the rear one. Now, I'm not an expert, and I don't claim to be, so I have watched a couple videos on how to do it, and it seems kind of simple. I don't want to, jinx myself down the line, because we all know how the shifter, Cobb shifter, short shifter, yeah, words, okay, short shifter ended up with, like, I think 23 minutes. Altogether, I think I was recording for maybe 48 or something like that, and I said that was going to be a simple install. So with that being said, I'm not going to jinx myself. I'm not going to say it's going to be simple, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be a semi-simple install. And I'm sorry I'm in the same position I was last video. I just kind of like the I don't know, it's like I can move my hands and not have to worry about my arm cramping up when I'm holding you guys way out. Can you guys even see that? Way out here. But anyways, let's get on with the install video. I believe we need, I think, a 12mm and then a 14mm. I do have bolts. If you guys are wondering, if you do order the Cobb shifter bushing pack, they do come with bolts for the rear one, not for the front one. And I believe it's a 14. So the rear one does have two 14mm bolts, and then the front one has one 12mm bolts. And I have to tell you guys, if you order the shifter bushing pack, I ordered from SD Motorworks. That's where I get most of my parts and all that sort of stuff. Not sponsored by any means. Don't think it's sponsored. But if you do order the Cobb shifter bushing pack, it does say on the box that it's a 6-speed front shifter bushings, and the only difference that I saw about the 6-speed front bushings and the 5-speed front bushing is just basically this. That's the only thing I could find. They both say they're like a, 95A polyurethane, whatever. But the only difference I could find is this little metal piece that goes between them. So don't worry if you do have a 5-speed and you didn't want the 6-speed, it's the same thing. So we were going to be installing this. I think I rambled on enough. Fingers crossed. I'll show you guys where everything is and all that sort of stuff, how to get prepared, because this is, I hope, maybe it's not, but I might title this a how-to video or something like that. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't plan ahead that often, but we need tools. We need to get out of this car because we gotta go. We gotta get this rolling. As you can see, the car is already jacked up. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to sit in the car while it was like all jacked up. I did try to jack up the car as high as possible. I'm a pretty big dude, so I need space to move around and all that. But where the shifter bushings are is towards the middle of the car. It's basically where your shifter is. So I recommend jacking your car up as high as possible, just so you have a little bit of room to move around and whatnot, because it is a little bit of a tight space down there, and I'll show you guys in the next clip where the shifter bushings are. Your boy is rocking mocks and socks. If you are an OG of the channel, I used to rock, oh geez, that's loud, flops and socks. They ended up breaking, or yeah, whatever you want to call it. Oh! So now we have mocks and socks. Mocks and socks are now in style. Come here. Come here. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see it. I might need my phone. But we are still going to try. It's way back. You guys can't even see it. It's a black screen. I apologize for that. Okay. Let me get my phone. Okay, as you can see, this is a really tight space, and I jacked this car up pretty far, and it's pretty tight, so I'm sorry if I don't do the best at showing what's going on or showing how I'm actually doing all this. I'm trying to find out where to put my light. But anyway, we're midway through the car. Right there, front shifter bushing. There's the, there's the, I presume, 12mm, and then you just follow this bar back, and then there is the rear shifter bushing. As you can see, it's really just chewed up and rusted and all that. I did soak the bolts in PB Blaster, and if you are in a area where rust is a thing, I recommend soaking them probably 2 to 3 days before, just every day, just squirt them a little bit and everything's fine. But yep, there's one bolt, and then on the other side, it's gonna be kind of tough to see this. There is, can you even see that? Yeah, you can. There's the other bolt. So it is pretty tight. I'm gonna try to work this out. If it is, or if it isn't a 12 and a 14, I will let you guys know. But that's what I'm gonna try first. I'm gonna see what I can do, and I'll update you guys. One thing that I do not want to forget is showing you guys how the stock shifter actually is and actually looks. Can I get some light, please? That's a little better. But here is my shifter. I'll put it in neutral for you guys. You just shake it a little bit, shake it a lot. Yeah, that's pretty loose. I feel like I have to change the is it a U-joint or a knuckle? Something down there where it has 2 pins, and I don't want to knock them out because it's a big pain. But anyway, I'm trying to see if the bushings will make a difference. But yeah, that's in neutral. If I put it in gear, it still shakes a little bit. So we'll see how the bushings actually, you know, make a difference. Hopefully it does make a difference, because let me tell you, I cannot stand how mushy that shifter is. So I'm gonna get my tools, I'm gonna see what I can do, and I'll update you guys in a jiffy. Okay, so that came out easier than expected, and that kind of makes me, I don't know, unsettling for some reason, because nothing really goes simple whenever you're doing stuff yourself. But as you can see, it is out. I do have to mention that this is indeed a 12 millimeter, and before you can take the bushing out itself, you have to take this little bracket out. It just slips right off, and then you're good to go. But this is the stock bushing. It is one piece, and for those of you who do not know, I'll try to do this as best as one hand as possible, but it sits in like a little coupler like this, like it's all wrapped around and all that. So what you have to end up doing is pushing like one side, or like cutting the lip out if you're not going to be reusing it. I somehow, some way, I actually pushed it out, you know, just with my fingers and all that. I don't know if that's good, I don't know if that's bad, but to keep in mind, it sits in a little coupler like this all around, and you just have to push one side, and then it should pop out. Simple as can be. Now, to give you guys a little bit of a comparison on the two, this is the new one, polyurethane. As you can tell, really doesn't squish too much. But this one, you know, squishy, you can feel it. Just doesn't feel right. So before we actually put this on, we actually have to put some grease around the outside just so it doesn't rub. Cobb does supply you with grease, if you are wondering. So let me put that on real quick. I'm gonna install it, and then we can move on to the rear bushing. Okay, so it's been like 10-15 minutes, but the bushing is out. As you can see, it's really, you know, crusted up, rusted, and it's just like squishy and all that sort of stuff. Look how bad that, look how much that's cracking. Oh my gosh, I'm glad it's out. I do have to mention though that the bolts on my car on the rear bushings are 12 millimeter, not 14 millimeter. I ended up figuring that out. So I don't know if that's all for all 2002 WRXs, but for mine it is 12 millimeters on either side. Another thing I have to mention is getting this out, you do have to disconnect the front bushings. So while you're getting the stock front bushing out, you might as well pull the rear one as well. I did the mistake on putting the polyurethane ones in, tightening it up, and then trying to pull the rear bushings, which was a no-no. So keep that in mind whenever you're doing these installs. So I'm just gonna lube up whatever I need to lube up, put this in, and yeah, we'll see if it actually makes a difference. This is so not necessary, but for a transition, here we go. YouTube things. All right. Hello, everyone. That, I don't know why I just exited my vehicle and entered it, but I felt like it was better than just like fading out and then coming back to me just sitting here. So it has been a couple of days, and when I mean a couple of days, it's been maybe five or so. I think 5, because I recorded everything you saw before up to this point last week. I think before my install video came out on my Cobb short shifter. Yeah, all of that was last week, and it is now currently Thursday, the day before you guys will see this. So I procrastinated a little bit, but I had to take a little bit of a break after that bushing install, because let me tell you, it was probably the most annoying thing I have ever had to deal with, and I'll explain why in just due time. But I have to say, if you are thinking about doing a shifter bushing install, or you know, switching out the old ones for new ones, please be warned that there is not a lot of space. The drive shaft's in the way, the exhaust is in the way, and if you're a big dude, you can't get your big sausage fingers up in there, and it's not going to be simple. I shouldn't say it's not simple. The process and everything is very straightforward, you know, just taking out bushings, putting them back in. It's the fact that everything's in your way and that it's just such in a small area that it's what makes it difficult. And I had the most trouble with the rear bushing because the bolts wouldn't go in. For some reason, I don't know how, I don't know why, I put the bushing upside down. I don't know how. I was baffled. I must have fiddled with it for like 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, the only thing that is left is that this thing is upside down, which it ended up being upside down. So that's what happened. I'm here underneath the car, fiddling with that iron rod, trying to shove it in such a tight hole in the rear bushing, and all in all, it was just upside down. Now, I'm sorry if I don't do a good enough explanation on what I actually did. It's just been a while, and I don't remember most things that I've done that day because it was just honestly really frustrating. But I do know when you put the rear bushing in, you have to make sure that the front connector, so there's the front bushings, there's the rear bushings. When we have to take out the front bushings so you can get the rear bushing in. So you have to like loosen up the front nut to where the front bushings go, so you have a little bit of play so you can put the rear bushing in. Because here's the old bushing, I have it right here. This old bushing right here is a lot thinner than the one that I put in. So with that being said, the play you have to have, you gotta somehow shove that metal silver rod forward a little bit and then squeeze that big old block of a bushing behind that metal rod and then feed it through the middle hole. And I've never had such a difficult time. It was basically the most frustrating thing was not enough room. So if you want to, you can take off the drive shaft and the exhaust. I think it's just from the downpipe back, or you might have to disconnect the midsection. See, my exhaust is in 3 parts. You got the muffler, you got the resonator, and then you have the front portion that connects to the, or is that how it goes? I don't know how it goes. And you have the front portion that connects to the downpipe. I believe that's how it goes. Scratch that. It might be in 2 pieces. It might be the muffler portion and then the resonator, and then it connects to the downpipe. So with that being said, if you want to, you can take off your catback exhaust so you will have a little more room if you want to do that. But I'm letting you guys know right now, you don't need to do that. It's just helpful to have a little more space. But with that being said, the rear bushing, it was, I keep saying it, but it was so annoying. I don't know why it was so annoying. Maybe people who know what they're doing don't think it's a big deal or a big problem or like wasn't even that hard. But this was my first time doing it, and let me tell you, I am glad it's over. So once I got that metal piece, that metal rod, I'm gonna call it a metal rod. Excuse me if there's a specific term for that, but I'm just gonna call it a metal rod because I don't know what it's called. So once I got that in the rear bushing, then I tried to put it up to where the bolts go in, and I noticed that the bolts weren't going in. I must have spent 20 minutes trying to, you know, finger tight one of the bolts in, and it basically came down to, I was like, you know, maybe I put it in upside down. And that's what it was. So what I had to do, because I couldn't just flip it on the metal rod, I had to take the whole assembly out. I had to disconnect from my shift knob. I like pull the shift knob out because the thing is connected to the shift knob, or not the shift knob, the shifter itself, my bad. So I had to disconnect my shifter so I can pull the whole thing out and then flip it and then put it back in. And oh my gosh, it was just such a pain. And one of the bolts, it's gonna be, if you're under the car, it's gonna be the left one. If you're facing the car, like with the car, it's gonna be the right one. It's gonna be the one on the passenger side. That's the one that's probably gonna give you the most trouble if you do end up doing this bushing install. Other than that, the front bushings are a breeze. Let me tell you, the front bushings, easiest thing ever. Rear bushings, no ma'am, no ma'am. I will never do that again unless I have to. Hopefully I don't have to. Fingers crossed I don't have to. With that being said, I guess you guys are wondering if it did indeed make a difference with my shifting. Well, I'll tell you right now, it did not. My side-to-side motion and up and back motion is pretty much the same. There's really no difference or anything like that. So that brings me to the conclusion that I need to change my shift linkage. I think it's the shift linkage. I've been calling it like U-joint or knuckle, stuff like that. I think it's a shift linkage. I have to replace that, which I don't want to do, because if you don't know, there is a bolt that sits on top, a bolt that sits on bottom, and you have to somehow finagle a wrench up in there and then take off the bolt, and then there are 2 pins one sits inside of each other. You got to knock both of them out, which is just a big pain, and I just don't want to do that. So that's where I'm at right now. The bushings really needed replaced anyway, so I'm glad I did it, but I'm also discouraged at the fact that it didn't change anything. So yeah, I need to change my shifter linkage, which I'm really not looking forward to that. I might just push it off because I really just don't want to do that. So this is just so annoying. All you guys out there, if you ever had an annoying install, or like an install that took all day, you guys know how frustrating it is. And you just maybe it's just me, maybe I'm weak-minded or something like that, but I cannot do multiple like hard installs in a row. I'd go insane. I absolutely go insane. But with that being said, guys, I think I said a couple videos ago, I don't know if I mentioned this already at the beginning of the video or not, or in another video, I don't know, but I did say that I had 3 videos going on when I made my comeback video, or the video that I came back with after 2 months explaining everything. I said I had 3 videos coming out for you guys. One was the shifter. The second one was the bushings, the one you are watching right now. And the third one, I can't say what it is, but I said in that video that if everything goes to plan, you guys will have 3 more videos. Well, guess what? Things did not go to plan. The company I ordered my third part from, they ended up not having them in stock. So they canceled my order, and I had to reorder the bushings and all that, and they don't know when they're gonna get another shipment. That's why they canceled everything, and so on and so forth. So I might be able to make a video. I did end up buying something at a swap meet. It's just the fact that I don't know if I can make a full video about it or not, but I did buy something that is, I don't know if I can give any hints right now, but it's the start, I'm trying to figure out how to say, it's the start of something that can become great, I think. It's going to be something totally new. I've never done this before. I've never done anything like this in depth. So with that being said, I hope I didn't spoil it a little bit there, but I do have something. I might end up, you know, recording it. It might just be me talking this and that. I'll figure something out for you guys. Hopefully I can actually make a video on it, because there's really not much to talk about. There's really not much like I can like do with said thing right now, because it's, well, you guys will see probably next week in next week's video, and hopefully I can find the parts that I originally wanted, so that way we'll have 2 extra videos. That will mean 5 straight weeks of uploads for you guys. But anyway, that's going to conclude today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully I did a good enough job like explaining on how to change the bushings, so on and so forth, and it was informative for anyone who actually wants to know how to change the shifter bushings in your Subaru. But anyways, that's going to conclude today's video. Like I said at the beginning of this, I'm not an expert, so if you have different ways of doing it, if you thought this install was simple and I just made it hard, you know what, well, this was my first time ever doing it. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave it a like. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, and as always, guys, I will see each and every one of you in my next upload.